Hello, guys, and welcome to the third official episode of the Underrated podcast where we talk about sports and rant about a bunch of dumb stuff that we think should be ranted about. And give a little bit of entertainment for you guys who are going through a little bit of interesting times with obviously the pandemic that's going around the world, and there's like literally no sports on except for Australian rugby.
Oh yeah, I found
Is that
Australian
the only
rugby
sport?
randomly one day. That was exciting because it was like I was like glued to my TV watching it. Just it was like
Why would you
it was like
you were
the
glued
only
watching
I was
Australian
glued to my
rugby?
TV watching it because it was like the only thing on. It was the only thing I
Honestly,
could
I
watch.
don't understand rugby. I don't understand like all the other sports like Australia plays. I don't understand cricket either. We played cricket in elementary school so many times
I never played
to the
cricket
point where
that
I
many
still
times. I
don't
remember
understand
playing it
it.
like the odd day when they were like, "Hey, by the way, we're doing a cricket unit," and then that was it. Like I never remember anything about it.
I literally do still don't understand it. Like
It's
we had to get it explained every time, and I still don't understand it.
I
Like, how do you just
here's the thing.
suddenly put it to the back of the field and then get like I think it's always like baseball,
It's
but it's not
basically
like
like baseball, but I
baseball.
think the runner continues until he's out. So it's like you
Yeah,
move
I've
back
no
and
idea.
forth, and it's like the runner. You have like a base runner,
It's
like a quote unquote base runner, and you two just run back and forth and basically just earn runs. Like the games can go up to like 4 hours long.
It's like that game that we played in gym class. It's like the soccer baseball game where there's four
Yes,
bases. And it's
and you
like that
go
where you
until
just
everyone's
keep
out,
going around until you get out. Yeah, yeah, until everybody's either at bat
or
or
out,
everybody's out.
which is hilarious.
I would always I don't think I ever got out in that game.
Oh, here's the thing.
It was
I
so
only got
easy.
I only got one home run out of all the 8 years we played that, and it was because I hit it off of the basketball. The basketball net was hanging down at the time, and I booted it off the basketball net. And there was
That counted. Yeah, that
yeah,
counts.
and there was a supply teacher, and I remember a friend of ours, Tyson, said, "Yeah, it's a home run." I'm like, "Is it? I don't know." And we just went. I'm like, "Okay." I was horrible
Okay,
because I always
so
waited and then just kicked my foot. I was horrible.
I would have the biggest run ups and then have the shortest kicks.
I would always I for some I coughed, my audio waves jumped. Um I remember
That's
always I
not good.
used to run. I would put my foot back, stop, kind of wind it up, and then kick. I would never just go one fluid motion.
I would always like stand back where the back benches are, and then just full sprint up, and I just wouldn't kick it very far. And there would be the one people that'll tap it, and they'll be like, "You're bunting and you're out." All right, so we got a little bit off track with my Australian rugby talk. Anyways, I think some big news have come since our last episode, and that is that Team Canada isn't allowing any Olympians to go into the 2020
Smart.
Olympics.
I feel like we're the first domino to fall in all of this, and I mean that by
That's a yeah,
essentially
that's the way.
like I think Team Australia just told their athletes expect one in 2021. And to be totally honest, it's totally fine. I mean, I feel like the World Health Organization isn't going to do anything anyways. So we're just kind of all waiting. I think we're like going to be like the first domino to fall. And over the next week, you'll probably start to see people such as like US and whoever who doesn't want to stay in this pull out before the Olympics come. So
Yeah, I don't know. Is it a smart move by Team Canada to really not send Olympians to the 2020
it's a
Olympics? It's like you have built up all the strength that you or have practiced literally your entire life for an Olympic moment, and it just got canceled because of a pandemic. Is that
well,
a
I feel
good
like
thing?
I feel it's the Summer Olympics, so we're not going to do well anyways. But it's basically saying
True.
it's basically saying like okay, it's essentially saying you're either risking like the athletes' lives or maybe a couple gold medals. Like
Yeah,
it's essentially
and I
that's
think
essentially what they're saying. It's like you're either risking lives or you're risking reputation. And I feel like
yeah.
reputation. I feel
Plus,
like
like Canada's a Winter Olympics. Like,
yeah.
if literally everybody, when everybody thinks of Canada, they think of hockey, and
No,
hockey's a winter sport. So
they
like, I
think
don't
of us
even.
wearing Mountie
And maple
uniforms.
syrup.
No, here's the thing. They think of us wearing Mountie uniforms or riding polar bears and drinking maple syrup. So, I mean,
Yeah, around there,
yeah, that's very, yeah.
just literally.
Yeah,
I think
that's,
maple syrup's one of the top things that people stereotype Canadians for,
oh, yeah.
and
And
that's
then
actually kind of funny.
people are like, oh, yeah, like, I love Canadian maple syrup. And then they use Aunt Jemima's. Like, come on.
And then I saw like it's really off topic, but I saw a TikTok, and it was
God.
a lot of people saying that stereotypical Canadians, that once they heard that hockey was canceled, they started
I've
going
seen
right
those
off
before. I've seen those
into
on
these
Twitter.
vaccines for the virus. I hit my mic. Into the vaccines for the virus. Literally almost 48 hours after hockey was canceled. And I was like, you know what? I'm not even upset about that. Like, I shouldn't be anyways.
I found it kind of
That
funny.
is
I usually don't
very
like
clever.
stereotypes. I
That is
usually don't
funny and that is
like.
clever.
I'm not a huge person to like stereotypes or double standards and all that, and I found that really hilarious because it's kind of true.
So did I.
I feel like after
Honestly,
hockey was
I don't
canceled, we're
really
like,
get
damn, we gotta
mad
find a
over
cure.
Canadian. Yeah, I don't really get upset over Canadian stereotypes, but like I found that one funny. Like I don't care about what people think about Canadians, but like I found that one hilarious,
Yeah.
and that was so clever and so convenient that like you have to be smart to make that stuff up. Like that was clever. I appreciated that. Anyways, so speaking of the Olympics,
Hmm.
I think our main topic today is that we are going to talk about the NHL and if whether or not they should let their players go to the Olympics,
Yeah. I
like
feel
in the
like
near future.
Yeah. I feel like that why Gary Bettman's kind of holding back on all of this is because he wants to save money in players and make the athletes the best they can be. When the NHL was totally fine before Gary Bettman even stepped foot in office. And now people make the
Yeah,
claim that he was the one who voted for he was the one who voted against making Quebec's move, and he was the one voting against all of this. When in truth, I feel like Gary Bettman's trying to compete with like the NFL of some sorts and trying to be like the top sports league
yeah,
when you're not supposed to. But
yeah.
to be totally honest, I just wish that he would allow them because again, it's the best in the world. I mean, he's American after all, so. But I feel like
American stereotype.
you're sending like the best in the you want to send the best of the world over when Russia's sending their best and we're sending some guys who couldn't even crack an AHL lineup are now playing in the KHL or somewhere in Europe. Like it's
Yeah.
ridiculous. Who are we gonna throw in at Ben Scrivens? Like what do you do? Backstop the Oilers to like 10 disappointing seasons? Like great.
You're so good, buddy.
Yeah. Like
Um, yeah,
oh
like another thing is that the IIHF got canceled too, which I
yeah.
thought that was a little bit interesting because like isn't that next isn't that next year? Like I don't know why
I
you would cancel it
here's
next year.
Here's the thing, though. It's actually late this year. The IHF World Juniors are like late this year. Um. Oh, I know what they canceled. They canceled the men's championship, where like all the people who got eliminated from the playoffs play hockey. That's the championship they just canceled.
Yeah.
But to be totally honest,
Yeah.
to be totally
Go ahead.
honest, I just think that for the IHF to cancel, it's a smart move because you have what like 30 guys sitting in a dressing room shoulder to shoulder, like.
Yeah.
Someone's bound to get sick in that example, and they're just saying to everyone just stay at home. So I mean, it's perfect for them
Yeah.
just to kind of postpone or even cancel it for this year.
Yeah, again, that's also going to take a big hit to the people that, like all the kids, especially, that, again, strive to work harder in their lives and, like, literally practice up to this moment to play in the World Juniors. And just like that is just completely ruined by this pandemic. And I think that that's kind of, like, unfair at this point. Like, you shouldn't cancel it now. You should wait until it gets too out of hand.
Well,
But then, like,
you're saying we've already
I
reached
do
that.
understand why they canceled it. Yeah,
You're,
they've already reached it to the point where like
yeah,
they're
I was about
making
to say
everybody like
it's at this point the whole pandemic is at a do or die situation where it's either we're risking potential really good athletes' lives since it has the ability to seriously affect anyone now at this point, or they're saying, you know what, let's play it safe, let's keep the best in the world safe, and let's just go about it. Because I mean, we've already had like Idris Elba infected and all that, and we've already had like
yeah.
a couple Senators players infected, which I mean that place already is an infection anyway, so why bother? But
Sorry for all the Sens fans that are listening to this.
yeah,
But
sorry
you
for the
guys
Sens
got
fans out there, but it's
shredded.
kind of true. I mean, what happened in 1992? 10 wins in a season? Yeah, my point. Um, so just again, I think they're just trying to say keep the best in the
You
world safe for
you
now.
can't make the joke and then laugh. You have to be serious about it. You can't make the
No,
joke and then laugh.
the fact that just the fact that your soul left as soon as I said that just freaking killed me.
Oh my god.
Okay.
Legit, just shredded all the Sens fans, and like I'm so sorry to all the Sens fans. You guys just got your world rocked.
I
Oh
mean,
my
the Suns
God.
fans are probably already just depressed at this point, so
Same thing with Detroit fans. Same things with LA fans.
no, the LA's are
We
LA
are
fan,
just pocketball
LA
everybody.
fans are probably still holding on to their cup wins. Like, we're still good.
Oh my god. No
Probably
way.
same with
Okay, we've
Blackhawks
gotten.
fans. Probably still ranting with Kane. Anywho, let's get
I
back
feel
on track.
again that yeah, the Blackhawks have just been. I mean, Patrick Kane is still carrying the team, but like they're. I think they're gonna be a team to get the first overall pick in the next like 5 years.
Probably. I saw like a comment on it. It was either on Instagram or Twitter where someone said like the Blackhawks have the best fans, and someone's like no someone replied with logically and said no they don't, and she said yeah then why do we top the attendance every single year? I'm like, lady, you guys were like on the verge of being sold like 10 years ago before you drafted Patrick Kane. Like, they were consistently bottom of the
Facts.
league in attendance and just awful. And all of a sudden they do well. Hey, by the way, we sold out our ginormous building.
And then like I don't even know if people could argue at this point that they don't sell out a building. Like the Habs like literally have like 21,000 seats, and they almost sell out every
Yeah.
game.
Here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. The Habs have so much history, though, that I feel like at some point everyone goes to a game just because. It's kind of like Toronto fans,
Yeah.
except Toronto fans can vacate
It's
a building
it's like
in
a bucket
seconds.
list thing.
Yeah.
It's like a bucket list.
Like, I went in 2017, and that was the season that the Habs were like an absolute joke, practically. And you know what? That building was still sold out. I mean, I sat next to a guy who hacked in my ear the entire time, but I mean, shout out to that guy.
Wasn't he one of the Canucks fans that you sat beside?
No, he was a Habs fan. He was like a diehard Habs fan. It was this like 17-year-old kid and his mom and the guy, and he was like, he was probably sick, and he was just sitting there like hacking his lungs out right beside me while cheering for the Habs. And I'm
Oh.
like, "Oh, buddy."
Anyways, so we got a little bit off track, but
Yeah.
I think that's still like our main topic here is the NHL going to the Olympics, and I think that it's still a good decision to kind of
So-
like hold them back a little bit,
I
because like if you lose a star player, you lose money, and that's what Gary Bettman is trying to avoid.
Yeah,
Is
well,
losing money.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing, though. I feel like if the NHL doesn't want to lose money, then let the teams relocate. Like, seriously, this guy is
Yeah.
like Gary Bettman's sitting here not trying. I feel like Gary Bettman doesn't want to admit failure because if you look at some of the lowest markets in the league, like Arizona, Miami, or should I call it Sunrise because the stadium's in the middle of frickin' nowhere. Like, you look at it, or even Ottawa. Like, I'm sorry to shred Ottawa again, but
New
look
York.
at yeah, well, not really New York. New
The
York's done
Islanders, the
well.
Islanders,
Yeah,
not the Rangers, the Islanders.
Islanders have done okay. Like, look at
Nassau
those
Coliseum is not full, and it has not been. I don't think it's ever been full.
it wasn't even full during the Trottier days. but
It's
you know
only been
what?
full when the Leafs are in town.
Yeah,
That's the only reason it would be full.
or the Rangers, but
Or
here's-
the Rangers.
It's probably full of Rangers fans, anyways.
Yeah.
Here's the again. Look at the failing markets in the league and think, why doesn't Gary Bettman relocate? Because look at all the teams that relocated 50, 60 years ago, and look at all the teams that relocated now. What, one? And that was because he couldn't get
Yeah.
Phoenix to sell. Like, if you want a league to do well, let the teams move. Let the teams move to better markets. Look at the AHL. They have a team move practically every season. And they're still
Yeah.
doing fine. They're still crowning a champion every year. But look at the NHL. It's the same, like, 3 damn teams winning, and they're like, oh, yeah, we don't want to admit failure. Yeah, sure. Like, look at the
You
teams.
either got what? You either got what? The Pens.
Yeah, the Pens.
The
like what? The
Pens,
Pens, the
the Caps.
Blackhawks, the Kings, the Caps,
the Blackhawks, the
Blues.
Kings. Yeah.
We've crowned like 4 people. Like, look at the '90s. The '90s were literally
And the Bruins.
Like what? Colorado, New Jersey, Detroit. That was it. Who won in the '90s? And like the
Yeah.
Habs and the Penguins. That was it. Like what? That was on.
And then
5
there's just
people?
like an era in the MLB where it's just Yankees.
Oh, yeah.
Like we're not gonna go into that.
Yeah. Steroids. Anywho, moving past that.
Steroids.
Yeah, Alex Rodriguez. We have something to say about that.
Yeah.
Anywho,
Oh my God. What is it? What has this podcast gone to?
I
Like
don't know.
usually
It's
we
just me
have this
shredding
stuff kind
teams
of
now.
like yeah. Usually we have this stuff like planned out and we know what we're gonna talk about. And this one we have literally gone we gone nowhere.
Yeah.
Like we just focus on the topic of going on the NHL, like letting people go to the Olympics and the IIHF being canceled, and we were talking about Australian rugby,
And
elementary school gym classes, and
which I mean, you want to see a kid
and
run
just
the
shredding
Habs jersey and
teams that are
sweatpants? That was me
terrible,
in elementary school.
and just like shredding teams
Yeah. Which I mean, that's
that
my
need to
specialty.
either
So I mean,
relocate or
I
just
would
are
go for an entire
terrible.
podcast of shredding teams if you want me to.
Oh my goodness, I feel like that would last for literally 45 minutes to an hour.
Yeah. I actually have
You,
like 50 documents on my computer that are just all shredding teams.
Yeah, he actually made like an entire list of documents just talking about how much he either hates the team or he likes the team.
Yeah.
And I guarantee you more than half of those what I
Are
hate the
hating the
team.
team. Yep. Like I made one on the
One of them
Cleveland
was the
Barons and
Caps, one of them was the Leafs, one of them was the Bruins, one of them was the Rangers.
I shredded the
Literally
Cleveland
almost
Barons who
all team
lasted
in the
for
Atlantic.
I made a Google Doc shredding the Oakland. No, what were they? They were the Cleveland Barons. I made a document shredding them because again, they only lasted for like 2 seasons before folding and merging with the Minnesota North Stars. So I mean,
And then that team's gone too. Would you look at that?
yeah. And now we're at
Minnesota
the
North Stars.
and now
They
the
had a
Minnesota.
nice jersey. I
They,
liked their jerseys.
I liked their jerseys in like when they were like basically in palliative care at like the very end of their life. I love those jerseys, like the black
Yeah.
with like the black stripe with the green. Show a jersey, show a
Yeah.
picture if you can. I'll know I'm gonna get edit later, but show a picture of it if you can.
Yeah.
Um,
You're gonna bully me and make me edit
J-
it again.
just go to just go to Uniform
That
Data.
second one was a
Hold on.
struggle.
Hold on. Shout out to Uniform Database here real quick because they do have all of the jerseys that have ever been worn in the NHL, like in a game essentially. So shout out to them because they're awesome. And again,
This
just
guy literally like binges looking at jerseys literally all the
yeah,
time.
I
I
have
see
like
him
a
on jersey websites.
I have an entire Google Doc like with a list of jerseys that I want to get at some
Oh yeah,
point.
I remember that. But that's in a future episode. We'll be talking about that. I think that's
Yeah.
episode 5. We're talking about jerseys.
Yeah.
So stay tuned for episode 5. We're talking about some jerseys and stuff.
Anywho, continuing on the track of the North Stars and whatever. Yeah, the North Stars,
Yeah.
I did like their jerseys, but to be totally honest, we now have the Minnesota Wild, who are like the most boring team in hockey. You ever want a
The
team?
Minnesota Wild.
Ever want to see a team sit in the middle of a stands in a half-empty building? Yeah, go to Minnesota.
That is true.
Yep.
Anyway,
And
okay, so
here-
now
here's a
we're
f-
now we're you know
Here's a
okay,
fun
never mind.
fact
Go
about
ahead.
Here's a fun fact about the Minnesota Wild. Did you know they retired the number 1 for their fans?
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Yeah.
I saw all the teams where it's like the teams that had
Retired a
never
number.
like retired a number,
And the
and it was like
Jets
the
are one of
Minnesota
them.
Wild because that one does not count because they literally retired number 1 because they were the number 1
Yeah,
fans
I
in the
remember seeing
NHL.
that. I remember seeing that banner and thinking, like, okay, that's cool.
Dude.
Like, why'd you retire that number?
You see all these other teams that have like chants and like the Predators for example that have like
chance
full
or
of
crater,
chants.
as some people call it. Shut up, Bardown.
Oh my goodness. If like there's so many different chants in the NHL that have the better fans than Minnesota.
Like, take a
Who,
look
who
at
does Minnesota cheer for?
who does Minnesota cheer for? Probably
Who
like
who is the player? Who is the player of Minnesota that people cheer for? Devin Dubnyk.
Not Devin.
The guy is literally getting worse.
Probably
by
Zach
the minute.
Parise or like whatever.
Same thing,
Ryan
yeah.
Suter or something. I don't know.
These guys are getting worse by the game or the minute or the hour or the day.
Actually, we shouldn't say that. Aren't they like top of the standings right now or something? They're pretty close. I think they're pretty high.
But
up.
still, I don't know why
Oh.
why do you cheer for a team that literally sucks except for this year? Except for they've had the
clue.
easiest schedule in the NHL. Easiest schedule. Because every time they face a good team, the good team just like, you know what, we're just going to give these guys a win.
Here's the thing.
And that's how they
thing
win.
Here's the thing I'd like to point out. I've done like I've done those like NHL 19 franchise modes or whatever, and I had the easiest time getting a team to win in the Central Division. I
Yeah,
remember I made a team in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, which was a stupid idea, and
Baton Rouge.
yeah, the Baton Rouge Blades, and I put them in the Central Division since Louisiana, and
Yeah,
they were like top of the standings practically every season because they faced all Central teams. And then I put a
yeah.
team in the Metropolitan Division, and they finished with 63 points in a season. So I mean, you know what? We have our chances.
Like, see, so there's different, like, I think there's different levels to each division. Like, I think the Metro is one of the top divisions.
Well, that'll
The
change,
Pacific
but
is also a top division.
yeah,
The
Pacific
Central
I
is
find
just that's
some.
embarrassing.
The
Um,
Atlantic's better.
the Atlantic's pretty good. The Atlantic's good. They got
2015,
Boston, they got Tampa,
the
all those teams.
2015
They got the Leafs too. They got the
like the
Habs.
2015 Atlantic Division. Oh my, that division was just insane. Like what? You had
I don't
Boston
know if
being
that was
good.
even beatable.
Like Boston
I don't
was
even know
good,
if that division was
Montreal was
beatable.
good, Tampa was good, Toronto was disgusting, Ottawa was good, Detroit was good.
I feel like that's
Like
the first time Leaf fans have ever heard that their team is disgusting.
yeah,
That's the first time Leaf fans have ever heard that.
I mean,
And like disgusting mean like they're really good, just so you know, not disgusting they're bad, all right? Because you guys hear that
no,
all the time.
2015
Anyways,
2015 Toronto wasn't that good to be totally honest.
they were like mid
They were
Atlantic, which is
they
fine.
were okay. They were okay. They would have done well in the Pacific.
Mid
for God's
Atlantic is
sake, but-
good for a team like Florida,
Yeah,
Florida or Detroit.
or Detroit.
Detroit just
because
Detroit fans, Florida fans, oh they all get shredded, which is funny.
the hockey gods are sitting there like, hey, Detroit, remember like 20 years ago you guys won a lot? Yeah, we're gonna need those back now.
Exactly.
We're gonna need all that back for like a season of tanking. But you know what? You'll do better. You have Steve Eiserman.
All right, so I think that will pretty much do it for the third episode. I know it's a
let's
pretty
wrap
short.
up
I think we're
episode
gonna keep. Yeah, we're gonna keep these a little bit shorter. We're not gonna make them 50 minutes anymore. We're just gonna split like we're gonna do one topic for each podcast. Now we thought that
That
the
didn't
first
work,
two should
obviously.
be the first two should be like introducing all our knowledge to the first like three things that we're going through. So I think now we're gonna go like different topics today. Was NHL Olympics or NHL and like allowing them to go to the Olympics. And we thank you guys for making it to this point. Make sure you follow us on Instagram at _underrated podcast and stay tuned for the future episodes. Episode 4, I believe, is talking about which team should return to the NHL. That should be a fun one because we like to rant about all the teams that shouldn't be in the NHL, as you guys heard earlier.
Sunrise.
All right, so we thank you guys for making it to this point, and we will see you in episode 4.
Yeah.